Okay, welcome to VP Culture Value Science lesson number 2. And we're going to keep exploring the whole world of values. And this time we're going to delve a little deeper into the world of creational values, what that means and how that relates to the whole value-verse of values. So creational values are kind of foundational. These are the little things that you do that will either create an experience for you, the other people on your team, could be even an experience for yourself, could be an experience for the community that you serve. So those 3 stakeholders, you're going to be creating something small. You'll be filling out a form. You'll be doing a quality check on a product that you've created. You'll be doing a double check procedure on a medical procedure you're doing. These are all creational values, things that have been defined as to what is excellent, what is good, in the realm of the very practical. These things are very important because they lead to other things within the organization. So how do you know that your creational laws of reality are working? Well, it's if it works or it doesn't. If it fails, then obviously on a certain level it's not working. So when you're having failure within your system, within your culture, you know that your values and your creational values in particular are not working. But oftentimes people fail to see this. So why do we have a particularly creational value if you're a carpenter building a home or repairing a home, measuring properly? You know, the old saying is measure twice, cut once. So you're saving wood and you're creating a sound structure by having the creational value of doing the first step of measuring properly. In mechanics, auto mechanics, a creational value, did you fill the coolant back up after you replaced the radiator? And then you sent your client out onto the street and she doesn't have any coolant. She ends up on the side of the street, frustrated. So that's a creational value there. In this, serving wine. So this individual, the server, is performing a service with great detail and almost ceremony so that these people can have an experience. So what we're trying to do is we took a glimpse at 3 creational values that will create an experience for other people. So it'll create an experience for those that they're serving most directly. So let's look at this again. The experiential value that this worker is creating is nobility. They're going to have an excellent product because he's an excellent craftsman. So he's creating excellence and people are going to enjoy that as well. That's another creational or experiential value that they'll be experiencing. So that mechanic could have created an experiential value of nobility and protection. So that his client, when they got sent out into the world to drive their car, that they would have experienced safety, protection, because they did their jobs, the creational value step correctly, that created the experiential value. So in this case, the experiential value is joy. These people are like, this is an amazing experience. This is wonderful. This is beautiful. This is so tasty. They'll go home and say, wasn't that a great glass of wine? Wasn't the cheese, wasn't the service amazing? Didn't the atmosphere look great? So all of these things are experiential values that the owner of this restaurant is wanting to convey to the people that come here. And all of the staff hold those values together because they've cultivated these things within their organization. So you're trying to create those little creational steps of how he poured the wine, created an experience for the individuals at that table. So that leads to valuing people. So we move from the little tiny things that we do and we connect those to these are experiences that we want people to create, and because we want valuing people to occur within our culture, within our organization. So we're trying to wrap these 3 steps around each other because it's very important to make connections from the small mundane things that we do every day to the experiences that those small steps create, because there's real people involved. This ennobles everything that you do. From the greeter at Walmart to the cashier at Walmart to the manager that manages all the people within that organization. So these are the 3 tiers of values that we're going to be dealing with. And now let's look at the science behind the creation of these three tiers. This was mined from Viktor Frankl's work. He is voted one of the 10 most influential authors and leaders of the last century. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, has been read by millions of people. And it was from his work that we got those three different tiers of creational, experiential, and values-based, or the ultimate value. And he discovered this in stories in the concentration camp, if you remember, where everything was taken away. But he realized that he could still create values for others and for himself, and even for the people around him. And it was those people that went on to thrive and ultimately do well, even in the darkest of places. And so when applied to the rest of the world and to his practice, he was able to share deep insights into values. All right, let me take you into the world of Hastens. This is a Swedish company that has been in business since 1852. And unless you sleep on a luxury bed, you won't know them. But in the realm of high-end bedding and high-end luxury, they're well known. And they serve kings and queens and princes and luxury high-end people all over the world with beds that are crafted by hand still. So we're talking about creational values. He's stuck to the creational values that the founding people, his great-grandfather, had in 1852. They actually make these beds out of horsehair because it provides a cooler and kind of an elastic experience that can't be duplicated by any man-made artificial surface. So they stuck to this despite having troubles and everyone telling them that they needed to automate and change. But he wouldn't change his creational values. And what is more, the owner, Jan Ride, this third generation owner of this company, he was dedicated to transforming the way he did the people within his organization. He was creating a VP culture by focusing on not only creational values, but experiential values. He wanted each employee to know that they were deeply valued within his organization. He created trust. He created order. He created stability so that there was peace within this organization, but yet they still held high to very noble standards. They used the best wisdom in marketing. They used the most noble craftsmanship, and they created a product that brings joy to people all over the world. And that brings great satisfaction in creating a well-crafted product for anyone to experience all over the world. They're renowned for their craftsmanship, and every employee revels in how they're treated and how they get to treat others by creating a product of such greatness. So this is a great example of a company that exemplifies the values of VP culture. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit now about Edward Norton. Now, Edward Norton was a Hollywood actor who is famous for several roles. So Norton took a role in American History X, where he played a reformed neo-Nazi. And it was an acclaimed role. He did a great job because Norton was dedicated to his craft. He was known as a meticulous actor, and he could pull off very intense and emotional scenes like no one else could. But he had a dark side too. So in addition to his creational values of sticking to his craft, he neglected the experiential values that he was creating with the other stakeholders, like the director, like the film crew. And he would create drama on the set by insisting things be done in his way and vying for control, even with the director, and insisting on actually getting different edits made to the film. So much so that the director himself was upset to the point where he disavowed the film and never wanted to work with Norton again. Well, Norton went on to create some other great films. In fact, he was involved with the Hulk film with Marvel Studios. He was the original Bruce Banner, and he was doing a great job. He was playing this very intense form of Bruce Banner, and people really appreciated his hard work and his dedication to the craft. But that fatal flaw again, that he was not thinking about all of the creational values like harmony. Am I empathizing with these people that I'm working with? Am I thinking that these people have great values to contribute as well? No, he wanted control, and he wanted a say in every edit. He wanted the character to come across dark and brooding. And that's not what the director or the studio wanted. And so there was so much conflict on the set. There were so many times where he caused delays that the Marvel Studios never brought him back. Even though he was the original Bruce Banner, they found somebody else to play Bruce Banner in the future. They didn't want to work with him in the future because he didn't create experiential values of harmony on the set with the other people, even though he was a great actor and could create the details of acting in a great way like nobody else could. And then finally, one of his later works, The Italian Job, he was on the set and he was obligated to do this, and he let this obligation get in the way where he showed a bad attitude about everything that he was doing. He created, again, delays, control, friction, and he was not harmonizing well with the people people didn't trust him. People didn't harmonize with him. He didn't create peace. In fact, he created the opposite of peace wherever he went. It was so bad that this was one of the downfalls in his career. Now, he was a great actor and does great work, but when your reputation gets out that you don't create harmony, you don't create peace, and you neglect the experiential values of valuing people around you, you can have all the creational values in the world and still end up not creating value around you. So that's kind of a contrast to show you how you can, the one hand, we had one company that had great creational values, but they also had experiential values, and they valued people paramount over everything. Here, Norton just valued himself and valued his own career and didn't value the people around him and caused a disruptive environment. And he wasn't able to go on to create great things. All right, let's do some group questions now. All right, question number 1. How do you measure the creational values of the products and services you create? What are the details that make them great? How do your products and services create experiences for people both inside and outside your company? How can creational values help you bring significance to every small action that you do? What does it feel like when someone does not serve you well at a restaurant? So that's our lesson about creational values, and that's lesson number 2 in our VP Culture Value Science course. And we look forward to seeing you in lesson number 3 of our Value Science course here at VP Culture.